Hi, everybody. It is Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Okay, so I mentioned yesterday that, or this morning, I should say, because it's like afternoon right now and it's 85 degrees. So I have to get out and get my walk. I went back to sleep because I get up at, I'll go to bed at like 9 in the evening. I'll wake up around 12:30 and then I'll be up until like 3:30, and then I'll lay back down till like usually 11 or 10. My cycle is really wild. Um, but anyway, I would like to share with everybody um, some visions that I've had throughout my life. Some of them, I mean, they've started when I was a child, because I think I mentioned in the video I put up earlier today that I used to, they were these blue beings. Um, and it was so interesting because I was around other children um, my age, but I was the only one with white skin and they had blue skin. And there was like this mother figure, kind of interesting. She was so sweet. I mean, really nice. And now that I think about it, I'm thinking back on it, I think that might be Mother Mary because, or has to do with her, because she was wearing blue as well, and the same blue that I've seen in a couple of other visions that I had, and actually a life experience where I was going by the old family cemetery. I looked in the rearview mirror. It was around 12:30 at night because I just left some friend's house partying or whatever, and I figured, oh, I better get home. And then as I was coming around the corner, I seen something that caught my eye, and I looked in my rearview mirror, and there was this lady with dark hair. I couldn't quite make out her face because it was glowing so much, and she had this like beautiful sky blue dress on, and just floating there, right? And I was like, ah! Of course, going by a cemetery, and I'm not, this is all new to me, right? And then I go home and I run into my bedroom and I go underneath the sheet or the covers. I'm covering my head, and I was like going, what am I so scared of? Why was I so frightened? Oh my goodness, I wonder if I frightened her. And I get up out of bed and I opened up the glass to the bedroom, and I'm yelling out the window at all hours of the morning, right? I'm not afraid no more. I'm not afraid no more. I don't really know why I was afraid and why I ran like that. Just hollering out. I'm like, oh, please come back to me sometime, because I was like clicked in, like, I wonder if that's my spiritual family, this thing started clicking in. And then there was also a vision to where I was picked up by a UFO. I had my two pups with me as well, the little barnyard terriers. And they picked us up because I lived out at that time in a trailer because I was transitioning from house to house. So I was living in a travel trailer, and I went to bed, and next thing you know, I'm back in a vision, and I'm in this saucer, and there's all these beings, different beings. I mean, I can't even tell you exactly what they look like, but some of them weren't human, but they had the human body, but they didn't quite have some of them didn't have the human face, or there were different colors. And I remember sitting over there because I was sitting over by the door on this like cushion bench, and I had both dogs up against me because I was huddling the dogs like, what's going on? And the thing about it is I'm thinking in my mind, what is going on? Who are these people? what am I in, a ship? So all these questions are going through my mind, and I look over at him, and they turn and look at me, and they're talking to me telepathically because their lips aren't moving. They're talking to me telepathically, saying, "Stand up and go look out the door." And I stood up, and I walked out to. It had like the saucer had like this landing that just went straight out like that. It didn't have the stairs going down, it just had this landing. And I went on this landing, I'm looking around, and I can see the sides of the saucer, and I can see all these other like saucers, crashed. And it was at night, and there's all this fire everywhere, and then this war going on in the skies. And as I'm looking at all this, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in the middle of a war. Is this heavens fighting each other? And then again, they're behind me, and I hear, don't worry, don't panic. We're going to be up in a bit. We're working on it right now. We'll be up in a bit. But just take in the scenery and go ahead and have a seat back if you need to go sit down. And so anyway, I turned and I looked at them, and then I'm just get back and I sit back there, and I've got my dogs, cuddled up on me, and they're calm as heck. I'm the only one that's kind of freaking out. And then I started getting interested, and I'm looking at the panels, right? All these lights are going off, and there's this big like circle control panel in the middle, and all these beams are surrounding it, and they're working on something right there. And then I kind of blacked out. Blacked out means it went dark for a second, and then next thing you know, I am I'm standing outside the travel trailer that I was am right with where my dogs are, and I'm still in this vision. So I'm standing outside outside the travel trailer, and I'm looking up, and there's like a bigger saucer and a smaller saucer, and they're flying over slowly, and they're on this loudspeakers. I don't know what they're saying, but they're on this loudspeaker that was really super loud. So my brother's house and bedroom is like, I don't know, 50 feet away or whatever. And I'm waiting and I'm looking down at the house, waiting for him to turn on the lights, and there's no reaction. And I'm looking back up there, and I'm like, and then I woke up when I was in the trailer itself, out of the dream, and I'm like, oh, but how come my brothers didn't hear it? Was that message for me? Oh my gosh, what were they saying? I couldn't make out what they were saying over the speaker, but they were speaking English. And then, so just that. I also had a vision to where I was in a big ship. It's like a big, you know how they show in the movies, like these big cargo ships that transport people? It was a big ship, and I was sitting in this like comfortable pod or whatever, if you want to call it. And the lid lifted up, and I remember sitting up, and I was like, oh, these cushions are amazing. And then I looked, and right next to my pod's a big window. And I look out the window, and we're in space, and we're going towards this planet. We're not coming from it, we're going towards it. And I had the ability when I was sitting there to be able to view the ship that I was in. I was able to sit there and actually go outside my body and check out the ship. It was a big, huge ship. And then I started looking down the way, and there was just all these pods of people lined up everywhere. It was like rows and rows and rows, and the things start opening up, and I look back, and we're getting closer to the planet, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is going to be our new home. And then that vision ended right there. Okay, I'm trying to get them in a row as they're going by, and then the next dream vision I had is we landed, or this white pod. I got out of this white pod, and it was like a just wheat field, right in the middle of this wheat field, and we know how wheat feels, all scratchy and stiff and kind of scrapes your skin kind of like thing. Something you don't go barefooted in. Well, anyway, I'm barefooted and I'm in this robe, and I had something small in my arms, which I thought was my dog at the time, but now I think from watching The Knowing now, because remember those kids landed in that field that looked like wheat and it was really soft and wavy? That's what this was. I was standing in this field and I was afraid to move. And I was like, oh, I'm going to cut my feet. And then I started touching the wheat and it's like silk. It's super soft. But I think what I did is I set down a bunny. I thought I set down my dog. And then I was looking up and there's this big saucer and all these white pods are coming out of it and they're landing into the field, and all these people are getting, well, one person per pod was getting out of it. And everybody's looking around, and I noticed that as soon as we turned and looked in towards the left in the direction, something caught our eye, and I remember I was so excited, and then everybody started jumping up for joy and running towards it. And I can't bring that back into this world. It's like I remember the feelings, I remember seeing it, I remember taking off and running. I also remember when the pods were coming out of the big ship, that my reaction, I remember I was telling you yesterday's video that in my visions and dreams, I'm not the same as I am here. My body looks the same, but I'm a child. Believe it or not, at this age, I'm childlike. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Thank you. And I'm waving and I'm jumping. And even in other visions when I'm with God, it's a way to, I'm just like, how'd you do that? That's amazing. Or lifted me up, or me putting my foot next to his bronze feet, because I'm just fascinated about it. And I'm just like, just all kinds of what a child would do. But consciously, on this side, it's like I have no control really of what's going on when I'm in these visions or dreams. It's like there's another part of me, which I think that's my soul light body. Because, and then I won't talk too much more, but about those. I just wanted to get a start of the visions and dreams I've had in my life. Yeah, and then us running, I think now what I thought was a castle that we were running to, but from the knowing, it shows a tree that the children were running to. But I don't remember being a child. I remember having the same feet, because there's a lot of times in my visions, I look down at my feet and I'm like, oh, that's my feet. That's my legs, so that's how I assume I have the same body. Been talking so much I get dry throat. But I'm going to get ready to go for my walk over at the park across the street, or across the freeway, because that's the freeway, I-5. And get that in, and then I'll go home and post this, and then I'll tell you about the vision in 2020, the one in May, where I woke up in the bathtub with the lion's head on it, with the water because I remember trying to shut off the water because it was just overflowing the bathtub. I'm like, how do you shut off this water? Until I figured out I'm in God's house. And then, so I'll show you about that. And then in October 19th, 2020, when my last pup had passed away, I lost it. I've had him for 18 years, or one for 16 years, and the other one up to 18 years, and they're both litter puppies. So it really took a toll on me. And I'm like, oh, what am I going to do now? What's going to be my routine now, God? I don't even know where I'm going to go from here. And I was crying so much and so hard, and I go home and I lay down, and next thing you know, it wasn't very long when I laid down on the couch that within a snap, I'm in this vision. And I remember laying on the couch, and while I'm in that vision, opening my eyes, looking around, and I close my eyes, and I'm right back there. But I'll talk to you guys about that in another video. I want to try to keep them kind of short, so I don't bore you guys. And then there's these in August of 2022. I had these lenses. They're kind of interesting. If I can get, and I'll show you in some pictures. But from going down like this over, they're kind of square lenses on the tops. They're in the same spot in both my eyes, and I've been having some wild images come out in my eyes. So, and then my nose, this redness, I've had that since I was born with that. Actually, it was a kind of a big, huge birthmark, a red mark. So, anyway, I'll talk to you guys later, and hope you're having a great Tuesday.